Hey Pisces, this is your look at the astrology of May 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman, and this is Empowering Astrology. So, big things happening this month, Pisces. Guess what happens? Well, Jupiter, your planet, changes signs. It leaves Aquarius on May 13th and it goes into Pisces. That's you. So Jupiter comes home. It's like you've been on this big 12-year journey and Jupiter has returned back to home, to the port. And I think that with Jupiter in Aquarius from December until May 13th, I think it's been a time where things haven't quite been able to move forward. It's been more of a time of rest. You've needed to reflect. You've needed to answer a lot of deep existential questions and also prepare for this next big chapter in your life. I will say, caveat, that Jupiter only previews Pisces because it goes in May 13th and it dips back out on July 28th, and then it's back again in Pisces on December 28th. So you could say, when you zoom out a little bit, that May is, or rather 2021 is this year where you sort of like are in and out of something. You're like trying to start this new life, but then you're still tying up loose ends with this old life. And I think that you're still going to feel this sense of renewal and new beginning as you go into this month. And then there's also eclipses. So yes, this is eclipse season. It's, I know, hard to believe it's been 6 months since the last eclipses. Pisces, these eclipses, they highlight your career, and then in particular, the eclipse that's on May 26th highlights your, wait, let me do that reverse. The eclipse that's in June highlights your home environment. The eclipse that's on May 26th, sorry, I got it confused. The eclipse that's on May 26th puts career in the spotlight. So as you get towards the end of the month, but to be honest, you might be feeling this even earlier in May, your professional life is in the spotlight. If you're like, what are you talking about? Well, then just go back and look what was going on in your professional life last December and even June of 2020. Because this eclipse is just another chapter and an ongoing story. Maybe you've switched jobs. Maybe you're looking to get a new job or get a new position or get recognized for your hard work, but it's just something to put an eye on. I think that the difference of this eclipse and the other eclipses is that Jupiter will now be in Pisces, and sort of this eclipse energy is pointing right back to you. So I would say that this eclipse is more about some sort of new beginning, some sort of new chapter. As you go into sort of this new part of the year. That said, I am getting a little bit ahead of myself because we still have Taurus season. Taurus season for you, Pisces, is about voice, communication, how you express yourself, how people hear you, how you listen. And with Uranus there, and Uranus has been there the past few years, you're having to reinvent your voice. People now need to hear you. Maybe they weren't hearing you before. Maybe you need to find the value, the true value of what you have to say. As we start the month, Mercury on May 3rd, followed by Venus on May 8th, will leave Taurus and they will go into Gemini. Gemini forms the base of your chart. It's about home and family, roots and foundation. So when Venus and Mercury get into that part of your chart, I think they're also really starting to activate this eclipse energy, especially the eclipse energy of the solar eclipse on this coming June 10th. What this means is that you're probably seeing some shifts in your home environment. It's classic when there's eclipse energy in this part of your chart. There's a change in the home. There's a move. Somebody moves in, somebody moves out. The family expands, there's new children, or somebody leaves, or you're staying put, but you're having to make big changes in your home. This includes remodeling or purchases of furniture or whatever. But it's sort of this bigger time for you to have a powerful new beginning in your home environment. So just something to keep in mind, as we go into later this month, we have Gemini season starting on March 20th, but we can't also forget that there is a Taurus New Moon on May 11th. Sort of been jumping around the month. So this Taurus New Moon, again, it goes back to this question of voice, communication, how people hear you, how you listen. And this new moon is giving you a chance to sort of capitalize, I think, on a lot of the changes you've been making. So if you haven't been heard, I think especially with this new moon, it's making something called a trine to Pluto. It's really to find the power of your voice. And I think sometimes Pisces, you're not always heard. You're this very liminal sign. You're the last sign of the zodiac. And you feel people, and maybe you want to say the right thing because you're so empathic and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but maybe this new moon is giving you a lot more of a stronger voice, or making you really find the value of your voice. Then again, we got Jupiter changing signs, going into Pisces on May 13th. We've got Gemini season beginning on May 20th, but then we have the Saturn retrograde on May 23rd. So for you, Saturn is in Aquarius. Well, for everybody, Saturn's in Aquarius, but Aquarius for you is what's called your last sign of the zodiac. The last sign of anybody's zodiac, their personal chart, I affectionately call it like the God room in the astrology house, because if the zodiac is the wheel of life, meaning everything happens in life happens in this wheel, then there has to be a place for the divine. So you are in this larger period of time. It began December of 2020. It's taking you into March of 2023, where is a very deep internal work right now. It's a time to rest, reflect, to search, to find the answer to very deep soul level questions. It's a time to reconnect with your soul, reconnect with the divine. But, that's the reason why I said at the beginning, it's like in 2021, you have one foot in a new life and you have one foot in an old life. And part of you, it's like all these new beginnings are happening, but there's another part where you haven't quite fully made it into this new phase of your life, because you've got to do a lot of preparation work. You've got to let go of the past. With Saturn turning retrograde, it's time to check in on this process. Saturn is the planet of accountability. It's the receipt checker. And it's saying, okay, this is a time where you have to prioritize your spiritual life, your spiritual health, letting go, releasing the past. How are you doing on that? And Saturn wants to see results. So maybe you're making some serious decisions around the 23rd of May. Maybe you're, it's the next stage in this ongoing existential spiritual story. When Saturn turns retrograde, it does so in what's called a square to Uranus. And Pisces, you are a very intuitive sign, just in general. Maybe you're thinking, well, I'm supposed to be intuitive, but I don't feel really intuitive. So maybe Saturn turning retrograde, kind of sparking off Uranus and Taurus, means that you're really awakening to something. It could be awakening to a knowledge, an idea, an information, or even just awakening to your voice. So I mean this on an intuitive level, awakening to your intuitive voice, because how can you truly make decisions if you're completely cut off from your higher self, or even something beyond that? Speaking of voice, here I am like trying to clear my voice. But anyway, this is a big month for you because it is such a time of new beginnings, but ironically, only partly new beginnings. It's like the preview. So you're navigating and negotiating a lot. I will also add that as you get into the end of the month, yes, just to recap, there will be a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on May 26th. That part of your chart is about your career, so your professional life is really in the spotlight. And maybe you're making some big new moves. But as you get to the end of the month, on May 30th, Mercury turns retrograde. I know, Mercury turns retrograde. So Mercury is turning retrograde in the sign of home and family for you. And so maybe you have some new beginnings in your home environment, but there's something about the past that has to be looked at. You have to get a new perspective. You have to reevaluate. You have to walk back on something. And maybe you don't have all the clear information, because Mercury will turn retrograde square Neptune. So when Mercury is square Neptune, just make sure you're getting the right information, and maybe not the information that somebody wants you to have. So really do your investigation work, double check your T's and your I's and cross them and dot them, and make sure you have backup information. Make sure you get a second opinion, because I think there's going to be a lot of problems with clarity as we go into June. So just something to keep in mind. Like I said, big new time for you, Pisces. That is your look at May of 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman. I'm an astrologer and psychic medium here in Brooklyn, New York. You can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. And of course, you can book a consultation with me. So until next month, take care. Bye, Pisces.